LeBron James just did something we've never seen in NBA history. At nearly 40 years old, 4 consecutive triple-doubles, a feat he'd never achieved before, and it's shaking up the entire conversation about his legacy. Is this the final piece of evidence that solidifies him as the GOAT? Or does Michael Jordan still hold that throne? And wait until you hear what Shannon Sharpe said that had Stephen A. Smith completely losing it live on air. Stick around. This might just change the way you see LeBron forever. To truly understand the weight of what LeBron just accomplished, let's rewind the clock. It's 2003, and an 18-year-old kid from Akron, Ohio, is making his NBA debut. The expectations? Unbelievable. The pressure? Insurmountable. He was labeled the chosen one, but few thought he could truly live up to it. Fast forward 2 decades, and not only has he matched those expectations, he's surpassed them. LeBron James is a name synonymous with greatness. He's the NBA's all-time leading scorer, but unlike traditional scoring legends, his game isn't built around selfishness. He's a pass-first player who redefined what it means to dominate the league, and yet as he approaches 40, many doubted if he still had anything left to prove. Therefore, when LeBron notched his first triple-double in this streak, it seemed like just another day at the office. But then he did it again, and again, and again. 4 consecutive games of pure basketball mastery. The most astonishing part? He wasn't padding stats in meaningless matchups. Each performance was pivotal for the Lakers as they fought for playoff positioning in a stacked Western Conference. Shannon Sharpe couldn't contain his excitement when discussing this on First Take. He called LeBron the GOAT and even nicknamed triple-doubles Miss Trip Dub, humorously framing them as LeBron's lifelong companion.
Who's surprised by this other than Stephen A? Because he knows this man is the GOAT. The man has been the best player. I mean, there's been very few players come in with the expectations that this man has had placed upon him and exceeded no matter what you thought or how great LeBron James was going to be. He's exceeded every expectation. A pass-first player is the greatest scorer in NBA history. And at the ripe age of 39, 314, 15, 16, 17 days, back-to-back-to-back-to-back Trip Dub. That's loyalty. That's one thing I can say about that woman, Miss Trip Dub. She's been following this man since he entered the league at 18, and here she is right now. Do you know how long it is, Stephen A., to get people to stay in a relationship for 2 decades? That's what Miss Trip Dub has done with GOAT James, the 6'8" guy from Akron, Ohio.
Stephen A. Smith, however, was less amused. He argued that while LeBron's streak was impressive, it didn't elevate him above Michael Jordan. 6 rings, 6 finals MVPs, 10 scoring titles, Stephen A. exclaimed. LeBron at his best isn't MJ at his best.
LeBron James. Do you realize that LeBron James right now is a top 5 player on the planet at age 40? I mean, we talk about the triple-double, whatever. The brother is top 5 in the world right now. So nobody's taking anything away. I'm not one of those dudes that's going to look at LeBron James and not acknowledge this brother is Mount Rushmore, one of the top 2 all time. He just ain't number 1.
And he ain't 2.
It's Mike
and he ain't 2.
Jordan. It's my LeBron at hold on, I'll let you speak. LeBron James at his best ain't Michael Jordan at his best. Anybody knows that. You on drugs. Something wrong with you. I need you tested right now. You have lost your mind.
But here's the thing. Stephen A.'s take glosses over the broader implications of LeBron's dominance. In today's NBA, players aren't supposed to perform at this level in their late 30s. LeBron is breaking every convention we've ever had about longevity in sports. His opponents aren't scrubs either. During this streak, LeBron faced all-stars and young rising stars alike. His ability to outthink, outplay, and outright dominate opponents decades younger is a testament to his unmatched basketball IQ. But it's not just the stats, it's the how. LeBron hit clutch shots, orchestrated the offense like a maestro, and made every player around him better. Yet Stephen A. couldn't let go of the comparison to Jordan. 6-0 in the finals, he kept repeating, as if that alone settled the debate.
You got to be crazy. Ain't no way, okay? 6-0, 10-time scoring champion, 9-time All-NBA defensive. Are you out your mind? Don't even get me started. LeBron is great. I love what I'm seeing from him.
All right.
It's spectacular. He keeps it up. The Lakers could potentially go to the finals. He keeps it up. But he's all of that in a bag of chips. He just ain't Jordan.
Shannon fired back, saying, "A pass first player is the greatest scorer of all time. That alone should end the argument."
Probably the only problem I have with Stephen A is that the surprise that he had in his voice when he said the man is top 5. When has he not been? That's the thing. What's so amazing, during this run, 22 seasons, he's always been there.
The two clash like titans, representing the eternal GOAT debate that divides fans even today. Therefore, we must ask, what does this streak truly mean for LeBron's legacy? Some argue it's the clearest proof yet that he's the greatest player ever. Others believe it's merely another chapter in an already legendary career. But here's where it gets interesting. Even if you don't consider him the GOAT, there's no denying that LeBron is rewriting the book on what's possible in professional sports. And let's not overlook the cultural impact. LeBron's longevity inspires not just athletes, but anyone striving for greatness in their field. His ability to defy Father Time is a message to every doubter. Greatness isn't confined by age or expectations. But there's one final twist to this story that makes it even more compelling. During this streak, LeBron hinted at something monumental, his dream of one day playing alongside his son, Bronny, in the NBA. This isn't just about personal achievement anymore. It's about legacy, family, and breaking barriers no one else has even dreamed of touching. So what does LeBron's 4-game triple-double streak truly mean? Is it the exclamation point on a GOAT career, or just another chapter in a story that still isn't finished? Shannon Sharpe believes this is all the proof we need that LeBron is basketball's ultimate king. Stephen A. Smith isn't ready to let go of MJ's throne just yet. And fans? Well, they're split right down the middle. But here's the real question. If LeBron can dominate like this at 39, what else does he have in store? Could this be the season he leads the Lakers to another championship? Or will the GOAT debate remain as heated as ever? One thing's for sure, LeBron's story isn't over, and the best might still be yet to come.
The NBA GOAT debate. The most subjective, debatable, confusing, and especially the most frustrating conversation in maybe not just sports, but the entire world. Look, you can tell yourself all you want about how you won't any longer take part in any GOAT debate, or that there's no such thing as a quote-unquote GOAT, or even the fact that the conversation won't ever end. So there's no point in even starting one. But then a friend or someone you know chimes in on the GOAT debate and says something that you don't exactly agree with. And voila, you've just got yourself into another debate. But here's a serious thought. Why should we want to hear each other's opinions instead of the opinions of the guys who actually got to see greatness up close and personal? I get it. Players might be biased towards the era they played in, or might make a certain pick because they feel some type of way towards another player. I say Thomas. So here's what I did. I scoured the internet to find as many opinions as I could from current and former players to find out who they think the NBA's GOAT is. And I've got to say, of the opinions I came across, a lot of them might just surprise you. And if we compare the results from a player poll that was done by The Athletic in 2019, there was a clear-cut answer to the GOAT debate. An overwhelming 73% of active NBA players said Michael Jordan was the GOAT when this poll was conducted over 3 years ago. In second place came LeBron James with 11% of the votes. But because this particular poll didn't factor in former players and NBA legends from different eras, and especially because LeBron James won an NBA title just a year later and is now the NBA's all-time leading scorer, it's worth uncovering how these opinions have changed over the last couple of years. So, here we go.
I'm going to say one thing to you, Max. I don't know the numbers like you do. Michael Jordan is what in the finals? 6 and what?
Oh.
And what is LeBron in the finals? That's all I got to say.
That was Shaq's stance on the GOAT debate. Well, actually the MJ-LeBron debate 5 years ago, after LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers failed to make the playoffs in LeBron's first season in LA. Fast forward 5 years later, and in the present time, it's what makes this debate all the more head-scratching. Players shift and switch their stances all too often.
I think he wants to pass up Kareem. Because if he passed up Kareem in point, we all got to shut the hell up. He going to have 4 rings. We already passed up Kobe. We already passed up Mike. Now he passed up Kareem. So if that don't make him the greatest basketball player is, I don't know, what we're talking about.
Actually, allow me to take you one step further to the time, or the times. Scottie Pippen weighed in on the GOAT debate. Apparently for Pippen, he's got 99 problems and making his GOAT pick is one.
There's no game that I would ever play in and pick LeBron James over Michael Jordan.
Well, just a few months later, Pippen completely backtracked and had this to say about who the greatest of all time is.
To say who is the greatest, we will never know that. I mean, in my eye, Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest basketball player.
But even before he said all of the above, Pippen said this year before he changed his stance twice on the GOAT debate.
When you look across the board, not just scoring, check his assists, check his rebounds, he's probably ahead of Jordan.
Oh my God!
Stephen A. Smith's reaction is exactly mine when I consider the fact that Scottie Pippen changed his mind on this subject at least 3 different times. Okay, changing your mind on who the GOAT is one thing, especially because as time goes by, a lot of things change. But calling yourself the greatest of all time is an entirely different matter. And this entirely different matter called for some chaos among fans and pundits.
And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special.
Well, that's a first. Before those words came out of LeBron's mouth, I don't recall a time in sports history a player, especially of LeBron's caliber, came out and said that he was the best to ever play the sport. It just doesn't happen. But according to LeBron, he himself is the best to ever play in the NBA. An opinion that just didn't sit too well with a whole lot of people, because a lot of people said what I just told you. Hearing LeBron call himself the GOAT is just weird. Not because he's being egregious or saying something completely out of line, but because we've never heard a historically great player say such a thing about themselves. But I guess LeBron said it because he was around his friends. I mean, what better time to say something like that than when you're sitting in a circle of all your childhood friends who you've spent seemingly a lifetime with? And speaking of friends, why not hear the opinion of the man who probably has been LeBron's biggest friend in the NBA, and someone he's played several seasons with?
Once LeBron James is done playing his game of basketball, I'm definitely gonna tell my grandkids, kids, that I played with one of the greatest to play the game of basketball. He will be the GOAT for a lot of generations. I started playing the game because of Michael Jordan. He will be my GOAT until the day I pass away. It doesn't take anything away from LeBron. This is just like LeBron. We started playing, we envisioned playing like Michael Jordan. So for me, from Chicago, where I grew up, I made it out the hood because I seen a dude, number 23, play the game of basketball at a level that I was like, I just want to do some of that.
That's a rather peaceful way of addressing both LeBron and MJ in the GOAT debate, right? What's not so peaceful, well...
Bro, I'm just going to say this. Any media person that I see in person for the rest of my life who try to tell me LeBron James is good as Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot. Right on the damn spot. No question asked. The next person who walks up to me and say, LeBron James, who is amazing, as good as Michael Jordan, or competes like Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of you right on the spot, and I'm going to take my chances with the judicial system.
Oh, well, that was harsh. Interestingly, Charles Barkley was primarily pointing to LeBron's competitiveness and mentality to argue against his status as the greatest of all time. Because if you ask Jason Kidd, the man who saw LeBron play the worst series of his life and suffer the single lowest moment of his career, this is what he had to say despite all of the above.
LeBron becomes the all-time leading scorer next year. Does that make him the greatest player of all time, or is that still Michael Jordan?
That's a good question, and that's the barbershop question. I think LeBron will go down as the greatest to do it. When you look at what his numbers, what he's done on and off the floor, no one's done that. And so he'll go. I mean, you got to put the whole package together. He's the greatest of all time.
Okay, let me transition a bit. Back in 1998, and exactly 6 years after the entire controversy in which Michael Jordan allegedly kept Isaiah Thomas from participating on the Dream Team, Isaiah Thomas, now as an announcer, had this to say about MJ and where he stands on the all-time ladder.
It's not the flashy things, it's the little simple things that he does. It's his fundamental base combined with his skill base that makes him the greatest player to ever play. And you say that without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
You weren't always convinced. There was a point maybe midway through his career where you wouldn't have given him that honor, but eventually he won you over, right?
Well, when you're playing against him, you know you're not going to say that because you got to come out and compete against him. But now sitting over here in the mic and being out of the game for 3 or 4 years and watching what he's done over the last couple of years, without question, this guy's the greatest that I've ever seen play.
If you've been paying attention at all, you know that is an incredible mouthful coming from Isaiah Thomas. And it's especially interesting considering Isaiah's recent track record of where he's been on the GOAT debate. And just keep one thing in mind. That was 1998, long after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retired from the NBA. Now hear this.
All right, Isaiah, I have to ask you this question. It is a topic we have debated many times on this show. Who is the better all-time player, LeBron or Michael?
Well, I'm going to say neither. In my opinion, neither one of them are. And I've been on record saying this. To me, the greatest player to ever play the game that I've seen is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That was an entire 19 years after Isaiah had already announced MJ as the undisputed greatest player of all time, while MJ was still playing. Fast forward 7 years later, and like I've been saying, these opinions change far too often.
Do you have LeBron over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Not until he passes him in the scoring title, but as an all-around player, yes.
That's now 2 former NBA players that have said that LeBron's status as GOAT is pending on his quest to becoming the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Well, I guess they now have LeBron as the GOAT. See, we can't be mad at this fact. LeBron is 20 years in and is on pace to average at least 25 or more points per game for an incredible 19th season in a row. And speaking of points, he stands on the mountaintop as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. But even with all that being said, there is one man, one transformational, mythical, and immortal man that played in the NBA and did something every night that had people's jaws hanging. The man retired more than 2 decades ago and is still the most recognizable sports figure of all time. He's the reason why 85% of the population ever picked up a basketball. The players have spoken, data has been collected, and all the numbers have been crunched. And no doubt should be left in anyone's mind. He's Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the greatest player of all time.